All right, we begin with the looming healthcare workers strike. Healthcare services in public hospitals will gradually resume, alleviating the suffering of thousands of patients lacking health services following a 35-day nationwide doctor strike. If the latest court order is adhered to by the medics, the Employment and Labor Relations Court has suspended the doctor strike notice dated 6th of March 2024 and directed a portion of doctors to return to hospitals while negotiations commence. Take a look. The Employment and Labor Relations Court has extended orders suspending the protracted doctor strike in a bid to pave a way for further negotiations. Justice Baira Mongaya, in a ruling on Wednesday, directed all the 47 county governments and other stakeholders, including the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, to negotiate with good faith, putting in mind the interests of Kenyans. Justice Ongaya also ruled that there should be doctors in all level 3, 4 and 5 hospitals, among them Mathare Hospital, Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital and Kenyatta National Hospital to handle emergency cases.
No amount of intimidation, no amount of threats, no amount of bullying should be used to quieten our work.
Justice Ongaya said, quote, "The return to work formula and the memorandum of understanding on minimum safety services in that regard that all hospitals categorized as level 3, 4 and 5, there should be at least 2 doctors per cadre, 2 medical officers, 2 dental officers, 2 pharmacists and at least 2 consultants designated to be on duty to handle emergencies." The judge also said that there should be no intimidation or harassment of union officials or members on account of the said dispute, and that any disciplinary action being commenced or continued should be kept forthwith to facilitate the medics to render their services unhindered.
No amount of intimidation, no amount of threats, no amount of bullying should be used to quieten our work.
In reaction to the court ruling, the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union KMPDU, however, maintained a hard stance, saying that the strike will continue until the government is willing to negotiate from a point of goodwill.
The basic salary part be implemented, that is the part of interns be implemented, that is the part of study leave be implemented, the part of study leave be or medical cover be implemented.
KMPDU Secretary General Dr. Davji Atela, in a subsequent press address, said that doctors will only resume duty after the government calls for a proper sit-down and commits to signing a favorable return to work formula with them that acknowledges their issues.
We must have a sit-down and a return to work agreement that gives the sanctity of this particular CBA. Government was saying that we have to suspend the strike before we have the whole of nation engagements. But today, court has been very clear on it, that there should be no any conditions for that particular engagement. And we say, as we continue with our strike, we must have a sit down and a return to work agreement that gives the sanctity of this particular CBA, that protects it in entirety, that ensures that there is implementation of the demands we have, that the 19 issues cannot be wished away in any way.
The Wednesday court ruling comes even as medics who are on their 5th week of strike have remained The Wednesday court ruling comes even as the medics who are on their 5th week of protest have remained defiant to their previous issued court orders, insisting that threats from the government and counties will not cow them. KMPDU wants the government to fulfill the 2017 collective bargaining agreement, which requires interns to be paid 206,000 Kenya shillings per month in the salaries and allowances, something which the latter has rejected, saying it is unattainable.
Previously, government was saying that we have to suspend the strike before we have the whole of nation engagement. Despite the strike, we let out the medical superintendent to be working in some hospitals, and that has been happening. And so for us to have any meaningful minimum services in any hospital, we must have a meeting, we must have a sitting. But as it is now, all the doctors are out until governments call for that meeting. As we will wait, whether it takes 60 days, whether it takes 100 days, as long as it takes, because we are out for a reason. We didn't go on strike for fun. We're going on strike because all the things that we have been demanding have been wished away.
Instead, the government has proposed 70,000 Kenya shillings in salaries for doctors as an offer that the union turned down, extending the teeth.
And I am telling our friends, the doctors, that we mind about them, we value the service they give to our nation, but we must live within our means. The resources we have are only sufficient to pay 70,000 shillings for intern doctors. It is not a salary, it is a stipend for only 1 year, and then they will be employed. And we want all our doctors, all our doctor interns to be taken in, and that is why we are going to spend the resources that we have to make sure all the 1,500 plus or minus doctors, all of them are absorbed at once, and we have the resources to make sure that they are absorbed at what we have offered as government.
Moreover, Health Cabinet Secretary Susan Makumicha has pleaded with hospitals not to turn away from Kenyans seeking medical services as the ministry prepares to settle money owed to health facilities through NHIF.
This is a matter that we have brought to the Cabinet's attention because we see it standing in our way as a risk in the transition. And following the bringing of this matter to the Cabinet, a discussion was held last week between my ministry, the Ministry of Treasury, chaired by His Excellency the President, and Treasury was asked to look for resources for us to start paying claims.
Nakumicha, who appeared before the Senate Committee on Health, says the money will be paid once the Treasury releases the funds this week before the rollout of the Social Health Insurance Fund.
So we would like to know, in the transition period process, what is the department doing to make sure that the payments are being made, and what is the ministry itself as a mother ministry doing to pay the debts they owe?
There is no cause of alarm. They do not need to disrupt facilities. That once they have provided services, their claims have been verified and reconciled, they are going to be paid once resources are available. We are going to receive this week. The PS actually got confirmation yesterday of the 8.5 billion. And this money is going to be put to prudent use of payment of claims.
The question by Senator Mandago was specific to money that is owed to public institutions. So in her answer, when she goes around and includes religious institutions and so on and so forth, I think she's conflating issues.
For Special Report, I'm Mesh Msimbi.